so excited. I'm finally finishing up this PhD program, and I decided to do my dissertation on my grandmother, Sidni Appleseed. We're going to talk to her about the invention of Zoetic music genre, what made her start singing, about her life, her career, her books, all kinds of stuff. This woman did all kinds of things. So with no further ado, let's get started. Granny Appleseed, you there? Hold on a minute. Granny gotta get her glass. Ooh. Sure enough. Now that's some tea. That's some strong tea right there. Nice. So Granny Appleseed here, baby. Anything you want to know, you just go on and ask me, baby. I'm just really honored and proud of you for even doing this project. All right, so let's just get right down to it. My first question is, when did you start composing music, and what made you start composing music? Well, I started composing music way back long time ago, somewhere around 2008, 2009, and what happened was I started writing books. I started writing books about myself, about my family, kind of autobiography kind of things, a little autobiographical. But I ended up changing folks' names in there because everybody ain't trying to be part of a real story. All stories ain't really all that magical all the time, although they be true, So it turns out that when you change the name, it becomes historical fiction. So that's actually what I started writing. Anyways, as I was writing these books and I was wanting to kind of get them out to everybody, as many people as I could, I was working with some senior citizens at the time. And I was also teaching biology to some high schoolers, so I was working with the youth too. What I learned from that is that everybody can't see and everybody can't read. So what I did was I started to record my voice and actually read the book for people, so that way I made sure they got the information. Although in between the chapters it was a little lackluster, you gotta have some music or something kind of in between there, so each chapter kind of felt a little bit like a song. Like say it maybe one chapter felt like Hey Sarah Sarah, something like that. But of course, Granny couldn't afford to buy a case of Sarah, have it on her stuff like that, I was struggling back then, not like I am now, Done went double platinum and whatnot, but that's different. Anyway, so what happened was, I said to myself, you need to figure out how to get some music in there that sound like what it is you're trying to be doing, what you're trying to express. So even if somebody don't understand the words, they can understand the sounds and you can still be conveying the same thing. That was my logic. So on this computer that I had, I ended up looking it up, finding out that there was a music program done came with the computer for free. So it's called GarageBand. You might have heard of it. It's probably phased out by this point, but back then that was the thing, Granny was coming along in her 40s, So I said to myself, okay, let me put some of these beats together. Started kind of messing with stuff, and little by little I learned that I was able to make that actually recreate a sound from the words and the story that I was telling through music. Oh, that's when I started composing. I just got in there and started making what I like to call tight beats. Huh. So when did you start singing? Yeah, it turns out that me and your auntie and your mama, we was in a fire. This was somewhere around 2011 going on 2012. It was actually somewhere around like 2 o'clock in the morning, and this was New Year's Eve going into 2012. 2012, baby, was real crazy because people had thought the world was coming to an end again. That was a whole different time back then. Anyway, so it was just madness going on, and apparently somebody decided that they was going to set fires to a bunch of different places, all up and down kind of the LA area, Looked up, do you know, I heard a sound around 2 something in the morning, some sound going off. I thought, well, maybe the water heater went out or something. Sound like a, kind of like an air balloon, like somebody in a hot air balloon turning the gas on. I'm talking about? It was loud, Got out, turns out it was a fire. So we got on up out of there after being in shock. It was all kinds of crazy and traumatic and whatnot. Out there in my pajamas, no shoes on. I mean, it's just a lot. You're running out with what you got, So we get the family out and everything like that. And then it turns out, because I'm the manager where I live, or I was even at that time, you know what I'm saying? Turns out I had to save other people too. I probably would have done it anyway, but I had to do it then. So I get out there and I'm staring at the fire. The fire is raging. I mean, it's huge. It's crackling. I mean, like the glass is popping and the tires is popping. And it turns out, because it's in a carport, so all 4 cars in the carport was on fire. We didn't know if it was going to explode. Like I said, the gas heater, water heater was over there. It was just so much going on. But it was all this sound, this raging, just going around, I'm just standing there like stuck at the fire, It was huge. I just stood there like mesmerized, Fire really can't be mesmerizing like that, because I was like, whoa. Then I felt like I was going to melt. I really think it burnt off part of my eyebrows. I don't know if you can see it in there, but anyway. So I stand there and I'm staring at the fire and I say, fire, everybody out. Fire, everybody out. And I just kept saying it over and over again, because like I said, I'm staring at the fire mesmerized, Fire, everybody out. Fire, everybody out. So finally, later on, we get up out of there. We end up at a motel. The next morning, we have to go back, try to get our stuff, see what's happening, if we can stay, what's going on. And there were all kind of reporters, just parked everywhere, just people just everywhere, all up on the lawn, stepping all on the grass and whatnot, Anyway, so they come over and they interview me, some other people and whatnot, and there was one woman standing over there. She was being interviewed, and the journalist asked her, she said, well, hey, how did you even hear that there was a fire? She said, how you hear it? Because it was 2 something in the morning. Now, it turns out that this wasn't even a regular tenant. She was just house sitting over there trying to take care of some cats and dogs, end up in the fire. You just never know. You better be where you're supposed to be. That's why. Anyways, so turns out she says it was her. She looked over at me and said it was me that woke her up. I said, what? I just stood there like, what is she talking about? Because I wasn't really in the interview, but I was listening, So she said it was her. She said I could actually hear her saying, fire everybody out. Fire everybody out. Fire everybody out in my dreams. I woke that woman up out of her dreams. I said to myself, self, if your voice is strong enough to reach people off in their dreams over sirens and crying and screaming and running and crackling and popping and all that kind of stuff, and cars going by on the freeway, because we was not too far from the freeway, it was just madness. And I said to myself, self, if your voice could wake people up out of dreams with all that chaos, you need to do something with that voice. And that's when I started singing. And that's what I want to ask you. What is zoetic? How did you come up with that? What does it mean? Oh, now that's a good question. What is zoetic? What is zoetic music? Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to tell you something. Granny Appleseed always been outside of the box. And most of the things I done did, people said you can't do, it's impossible, this ain't the right way. Because it probably ain't. But it's my way. So Granny gonna do it. So it was no different with the music. It turns out I had all different kinds of beats. It was everything from rock to jazz to soul to hip hop to folk music. It was all up in there. I gave it to a bunch of different people, asked them what it was. Nobody could figure out what it was. They just said it's a little bit of everything. So I said to myself, well, if nobody knows what to call it, I'm going to make up something then. This is my opportunity to invent something. So, a few people, the one thing across the board that everybody said, the one thing they described was that somehow the music gave them goosebumps a little bit, gave them goosebumps and made them feel like emotions and feeling they could feel what I was talking about even when they didn't understand my words. Because I got my own words, and whatever words I don't have, I'll make them up. I ain't gonna lie to you. Granny will make some words up. I will do that. So, I looked up, what is spiritual? What does that mean? Looked it up on the Google, and it turns out that an ancient Greek word for spiritual or conscious and living in life, this kind of thing like that, just something on that level, just like you feel it even when you know you can't describe it, it just go all over you. A word for that was called zoetic. So I said to myself, well, I didn't even have to make this one up. Wow, I learned a lot. Thank you so much for being on the show, Granny. So we're going to keep this up. I'm going to call you every week, and we're going to talk about some music. We're going to talk about some writing, something, because I want to hear what you got to say. Thank you, Granny. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for having a show. You know what I'm saying? And until next time, Granny Appleseed, love you. Show.